Hello guys, once again I welcome you all to my YouTube channel. So in previous video we have seen how we have deployed a next Node.js application in our local system. Now we will see some further topics like how we can deploy the same Node.js application or React application in our DevOps pipeline. So before that I request you all to like and subscribe my channel. So let's get started. First we will see today's agenda. We will see setup of deploying an application on Azure Pipelines. Then we will see what is CI/CD. Then we will see setup of build pipeline. So moving ahead, first setup of deploying an application on Azure Pipelines. So guys, this is the strategy of how we can deploy a Node.js or React.js application to our Azure Pipelines. So you can see this diagram states a clear picture. In first step you can see we have Azure repos. So work of Azure repos is that we are storing or pushing our code from our local system to Azure repos, and then we are checking out the code from Azure repos to step number 2, that is build pipeline. We are checking out our code from Azure repos to build pipeline. Then we are creating a YAML file and compiling the code into build pipeline, and at last we get build artifacts. That is step number 3. We are generating build artifacts, and then in step number 4 we can see we are calling a release pipeline, and we are calling all the build artifacts from step number 3 into step number 4, the release pipeline. So the steps from 1 to step 4, we have compiled our code and successfully generated the build artifacts in Azure DevOps. Now we have to deploy our artifacts to a web app or web application. So we need some sort of service connection to deploy, or a communication between our Azure DevOps and the third-party server or application, so that we can push our artifacts from DevOps to another service or third-party provider. So we need a service connection. So service connection we will see in later, but as of now just think it as a type of communication between our Azure DevOps and a third party provider services like GitHub, Microsoft Azure, or any other services. So we are creating a service connection, a connection between our Azure DevOps to Microsoft Azure. So in step number 5 we are creating a service connection, and in step number 6 we are pushing our or releasing our artifacts from release pipeline to Azure web application. So if you guys don't know, so Azure web application is used to host our web page or our artifacts. So I hope this strategy is well understood for you. Moving ahead, now we will see what is continuous integration and continuous delivery. So continuous integration, it involves automatically integrating code changes from multiple contributors into a shared repository several times a day. The main goal is to detect and address integration issues early in the development process. Automated builds and tests are run whenever code changes are pushed to the repository, helping to ensure that the new code integrates well with the existing code base. Then second is continuous delivery. It extends the concept of CI or continuous integration by automatically and consistently delivering software to production-like environment. In a continuous delivery pipeline, the application is automatically tested, and if all tests pass, it is automatically deployed to a stage of pre-production environment. This allows teams to have a reliable and repeatable process for releasing software at any time. Then we will see a diagram how continuous integration and continuous deployment work. So first we can see continuous integration. It involves of Azure repos, build pipeline, and build artifacts. We are calling or checking out our code from Azure repos and triggering a build pipeline from that and generating the build artifacts. So this cycle is continuous. That means if any developer makes a new feature in our code base of Azure repos, then build pipeline will automatically check out the code from Azure repos and automatically generate the build artifacts. There is no manual intervention. So this is called continuous integration or CI. Then we can see continuous deployment or delivery. So we are taking our build artifacts to release pipeline, and release pipeline is creating a service connection to any third party service like Microsoft Azure, GitHub, or and deploying our artifacts to any third party provider via service connection. So this deployment process is called continuous deployment or delivery. So I hope you guys understood. Now we will see a build pipeline setup. So this is the structure how we are going to set up our build pipeline. First we will push our code to Azure repos. Second we will check out our code from Azure repos to build pipeline. And third we will store and publish artifacts. So stay tuned. So guys, now I am on my Azure DevOps project 1. So I will create a new repo and try to push my code from local system to Azure repos. The code I will provide you on my GitHub link, so you can go and clone that repo. I will go to Azure repo. I will create one new repository. I will name it as Hello World React Application. I just click on create. Now you can see my Hello World React Application repository has been created. I will clone this repository. Now I will open my Git bash. So if you guys are confused or not getting anything, just go to my previous video. I have explained everything in depth. So I will just give the command git clone and the URL. So you can see it is cloning. Now we can see our repo is empty. Now we need to add some code. I will copy this code from here and paste it here. Now we will go to hello world folder and do git add all. Now git commit -m first commit. I will do git push. Now if we will refresh our pen, we can see our code here. See our code has been pushed successfully from our local system to Azure repos. Now moving ahead, now we can click here on setup on build to create our pipeline, or we can go to pipelines. We can create a new pipeline. First we have to select our code. So we will select Azure repos. I will select my repo. This is my repo. So we can see that Microsoft Azure DevOps has analyzed our code and it is giving us this many options to build our code with Node.js and React. So I will select this option because our project is Node.js with React. You can see this is the default generated YAML file created by Microsoft Azure, but we can configure this with our own purpose. So now first you can see the trigger is our main branch, then pool, it is selecting Ubuntu data as the default build agent for this job. Then the steps is to first, then we can see the steps. So the first step, as you can see, is to install the Node tool. That means it is installing Node.js software to our build machine. As I have installed Node.js to my local system in previous video, I have told you this. So it is installing Node.js into its build machine. So you can see the input parameters. The version it is installing is 10x and the display name is install Node.js. So we have to do some changes. So our React application is the latest version, so we can change it to 16x. Now we can see the second task it is doing. It is executing some scripts like npm install and npm run build. So these two commands I have told you in my previous video. We have run these commands in our local system to compile our Node.js application. So before this, we will see that what files are being generated before compilation of code and after compilation of code. So I will give the script before npm run build. And script will be echo build viewing files before compilation we have to give this. If we are running multi-line scripts, then I will give second command or script at ls build dot sources directory. So guys, if you are not familiar with this variable, so you can check it out my previous video. I have explained these things in depth. So this command will help us to view our files before compilation, and same we will do after compilation. Copy this command and I will give viewing files after compilation and build dot source directory. I will provide a display name. Display name will be viewing before build, and the second one will be after build. Now our code has been completed. Now we will run this pipeline. We can see the jobs. It will take a while. So we can see first it is checking out our code from Azure repos to its builder machine. It is installing Node.js, Node 16. Then we can see the file before build. So these are the files before building or compilation of our code. We can compare these files with our Azure repos files. We will get the same number of files here also and here also. So there is nothing new here. Then it is executing the commands npm install and npm run build, and it is compiling our code, and we can see after build node modules and build folder is generated. We can compare it again. Before build we don't have these two files, and after build we have build and node modules. So node modules, as I mentioned earlier in my previous video, node modules, it contains all the packages and dependencies to build our code. Then build folder contains the static web page or static files. It is also the artifact folder. So our job has been done here. Now we will move ahead and we will see how we can store our artifacts into a separate folder and publish them into pipeline. We will again go to pipeline. Before that we should rename this pipeline. Pipeline. We'll again edit our pipeline. So we know that we need the build files because the build files contains our artifacts. We will give a task. So this panel is a task panel. Here Microsoft has predefined many tasks, so you can go and just click on the function and you can use it in your pipeline. So I will search one task called copy files. So I will just click on copy files task, and first I will give the source folder. So this is my source folder, Control C, and in that we have to go into build folder. I will copy all the contents. Star means all the contents, and target folder will be artifact staging directory. So the copy file task will do what? I will tell you. Just click on add and you can see the code has been pushed here. So the task is copy file, and it is doing what? It is copying the files from build.source directory, and in that from build folder it is taking all the contents and copying into a separate folder called build.artifact staging directory. Guys, again, if you are not understanding these variables, then check it out my previous video. I have explained everything in detail. So now our build files or artifacts has been copied from source directory to artifact staging directory. Now we will move this or publish this artifact to our pipeline so we can see it. We are copying our artifact from source directory to staging directory. Now moving ahead and publishing this artifact to our pipeline. So we can go. We will again search one task, publish, and we can see we are getting one task, publish build artifacts. We will click on this. So it is already taking my artifact staging directory and it is creating an artifact name drop and it is publishing to Azure Pipelines. So we will click on just add and we can see publish artifact task has been successfully inserted to our pipeline. So what does it will do? I will explain you once again. It will take our artifact from this folder and it will publish it to our pipeline in a container. I will show how we can physically access that container and see our artifacts. So now we will run our pipeline and see what happens. It will take a while. It is checking out our code, installing Node.js. Then we can see the files before build. It is just compiling our code with npm install and npm run build command. It will take a while. So we can see it had compiled our code. And after build we can see we have built a node modules folder here. We don't need node modules as of now. We only need build. So we are copying build from this folder to a separate folder. We can see copy file task is copying all the build files to a separate folder called artifact staging directory. This is the path of that directory and it is publishing the artifacts into a container. We can see and the job is finished. We can go and check it out our container and if the artifact has been pushed or not. Click here, click on the latest pipeline. We can see related one work item is published right now. Click here, click on the artifact name, the container name, and we can see these are the build files that we have published to a container. So in next video we will see how we can take these build files or artifacts to a release pipeline and deploy it to next step. So this marks the end of our chapter. So next thing we will see in next videos. Thank you guys. Please like and subscribe my channel.